In joining us, a man whose words are highly criticized every single time they happen. We've been very fortunate to chit chat with this guy for every single Tuesday of the last two NFL seasons, back-to-back MVP years. This season coming to a screeching halt much earlier than any of us could have expected on Saturday night. Just days later, with numerous questions to be asked about his future, his life, and all of his opinions, ladies and gentlemen, the reigning, defending, undisputed MVP of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah!
What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
Hey, you look good in that blue.
Yeah, I got some beef with you, bro.
No. All right, go ahead.
Why are you trying to dog the best golf brand in the business?
Well,
when I send you over a new carbon wood driver, and then you're gonna dog it on the air?
I didn't know it was from you. I didn't know it was from you. There was no sign, no letter that said, hey, this is from Aaron Rodgers, a man you have great respect for. This is his club. I didn't know that. I didn't know that enough. I thought it was just from TaylorMade, and I seen, 30 of them sent out to a bunch of people. I didn't know this was specifically from you. That's on me. It's a great club. Ooh. Love it. Hey, this is great gift. One of the best gifts I've ever got in my life, I think, man. It's going to hit a ball a long way, Aaron. It's going to hit a ball a long way.
That's better.
I didn't know, dude. I honestly didn't know. I had no idea. I'd seen them all over the internet. I appreciate you sending that. That's very, very nice of you to share the wealth with your relationships and partnerships and sending one over here. And this is probably going to help me take $20 million from the asshole, on the far right side of the screen here, AJ Hawk, at some point. Let's talk about life right now for you. It's obviously, anytime a season comes to an end, it comes out of nowhere. And Saturday night in Lambeau, with the way the weather was, with the way your team was, with everybody getting healthy, obviously, that's a drastic ending there. Your thoughts here a couple of days later on how it happened, why it happened, and where you're at right now, you think, mentally?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. Anytime the season ends, it's always abrupt. Definitely felt like we had a special team this year, be able to make a Super Bowl run. So it's frustrating to go out and play like that. Especially when our defense returned a couple guys, they were playing incredible, keep them out of the end zone. And then offensively not get it done, and special teams not get it done was disappointing. So, definitely a quiet locker room after the game, and the eeriness, as you both know, of going back in the locker and having guys kind of clean out their locker and moving on, and the uncertainty of next year with so many people on the team. Definitely adds to the feeling. But I think, when the numbness and the sadness and the frustration wears off, it allows perspective to start to fill the void, and gratitude and appreciation. And I'm waiting to feel those feelings.
Well, first off, when do you think those feelings may come? And also, going to that game, you guys came out of the gates on fire, went down, scored right away. That was the last time you were able to score. What did San Francisco do defensively that was so good? I know we like to talk about, you guys only scored 10. There's a reason. I mean, San Fran's a hell of a defense. They're a hell of a team. So what were they doing?
They got a great defense. I think they stopped the run first, and they did a good job stopping the run, and then they got after us in the passing game. They did a nice job of mixing the coverages up, bringing some pressures, but we didn't protect specifically great. We had a couple opportunities to hit some big plays, and didn't make them, but they stopped the run. I think that was something that they didn't do on the first drive. We were able to kind of move the ball. I don't think we had a third down on the first drive, and then had another good drive going. Fred had a nice punch on the ball to create a turnover. And we just couldn't quite get back in the rhythm, myself included. Couldn't quite get back into a rhythm offensively until the long drive, got down there, had a penalty, and then couldn't get the ball in the end zone. And obviously sputtered in the fourth quarter and had a punt block, and that was kind of all she wrote there.
I assume you psychoanalyze everything and try to, and I don't even know if I said that word right. I know it sounds like that, whatever the word is, and I think you understand what I'm saying. Shout out to TaylorMade, by the way. These drivers.
So good.
Oh, my God. Carbon wood, dude. Fucking bomb time.
Yes, man.
Bomb time, dude. But
your body double Phil Mick, I think, uses the carbon wood now. So
Oh, I thought he was on Callaway. I was actually told strictly that Lefty's a Callaway guy just like me is what I was told. But
Well, he used to win the PGA Championship. He used the TaylorMade Baby Driver. So,
okay, well, I was lied to a lot, it sounds like. And that is probably going to continue to happen to me. And I'll just continue to try and learn and get better from it. But boy, this fucking carbon wood. I was hitting balls down the middle of the street yesterday. It was freezing cold. Still going, dude.
That's right.
Still going. I mean, nobody knows if it'll ever stop. Might have a 900-yard drive. But let's talk about fourth quarter there. I'm sure you've looked back at it. There was a couple of times after the blocked punt to go out there and make a play. I'm sure somewhere inside of you, you're like, okay, this is what we do. This is what we have been. We've been able to go out here and make these types of things. And anytime a situation or a game ends in the way it does, especially with you at the helm, that's going to bring out all of the haters, all of the stats, everything that is, people are sitting on Throw Rogan, for weeks waiting for that moment. That was trending alongside COVIDiot and everything. Why do you think maybe the rhythm wasn't there? And why do you think the results of you not having success bring so much happiness to so many people? Do you think it's strictly because you're an immunized son of a bitch? Do you think it's because of any other reason? Or what do you think it is because of?
well, that's like 5 different questions.
Yeah, just take it however you need to.
Well, yeah, there's obviously some plays that I wish we'd executed better. You knew this was in the mix. There were a ton of people tuning in, rooting against us for one reason and one reason only. It's because of my vaccination status and them wanting to see us lose so they could pile on and enjoy and revel in the fact that my vaccination status was some sort of reason why we haven't had success in the playoffs or whatever it might be, some sort of correlation. I think to have the perspective of an entire year of dealing with this and knowing that this was coming down the pipe at some point, with the amount of guys that did get COVID throughout the year, I knew there's a possibility that I would have to make comments about my own personal status and possibly be in the fire from it all. I think as frustrating as it's been at times, there's been a lot of reflection to try and embrace the empathy of the situation. And I think for so many people, it's really been a hard time, from a purely financial standpoint. So many of my friends who are small business owners in Northern California and really all over the country, have really had a difficult time during the last couple of years. And from a pure mental standpoint, I think the biggest thing that people have been dealing with is fear. There's so much fear around this. There's fear of your health. There's fear of your loss of money. There's fear of not being able to provide for your family. There's fear of death, for sure. Fear of sickness. And the media plays a big role in that. I mean, the fear porn that is put out day after day, I think, causes a lot of strife and stress for people. And I think because I don't watch the news or don't subscribe to the same type of mainstream narrative at times, and have decided to take my own personal health and responsibility for my health in my hands, and did my research and looked into things, and also my associations with other people who have done similar things. There's anger kind of thrown my way, but the root of that, I think, is fear. And so I do have empathy for those people who are caught in this fear state around COVID that has been continued to be pushed and furthered by media and by some of the narratives that are out there. And I do have empathy for that. The vitriol, the hatred, those words, I'll be honest, I've been insulated from it. I haven't seen a lot of it. I know it's out there. I'm sure it's out there. But I do have empathy for those individuals who have been dealing with this fear. Is the hatred based on the fact that I don't have that fear, that I've taken responsibility for my own health, possibly, that I don't fall in line with a narrative, possibly. But I will say I don't believe that hatred and fear and name calling and any of this stuff is going to get us out of this pandemic. It's going to be love and connection and actually conversation and debate and information sharing, and not information sharing that's fact checked by the same individuals who are, running the pharmaceutical industry.
Whoa.
Which is a lot of the, when you look into some of those connections, it is interesting to see some of the connections between fact checkers and boards and that's too bad. I think if anything, to sum up this long answer, I realize that I've been divisive this season by my vaccination status and by my willingness to talk about it and to talk about the research I've done and my own opinions, and it's part of it. And I take accountability for that. I've never wanted to be a divisive, polarizing figure on this. I want to encourage people, inspire people to think for themselves, to take their health in their own hands, to realize this is a pandemic of health, not the unvaccinated, a pandemic of health, and encouraging, inspiring people to take their health in their own hands and to make healthier decisions and to think about what they're eating and what they're putting in the body, and that their health is their own responsibility, as much as mine as my own responsibility. And hopefully I've inspired people. I'm sorry for those that think I'm just a divisive, polarizing individual, but my goal has been to inspire people to take their health into their own hands. And I hope that there's enough people, and I know there are, because I've been hearing support from all over the country and world, really, throughout this time. But I hope people continue to turn off the fear and do their own research and take care of themselves and their own health, and I hope that we can move past a lot of this and actually connect instead of continue to divide.
Hey, that was nice. That was well said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have plenty that you want to say you will over the next couple months as everything plays out. But as far as your career and everything going on with that, I know you want to take some time or whatever. Like, what factors go into your decision making when you sit there and you try to figure out what your future may look like? Is that, well, you got to wait till you get back to the beach house, throw on some Neil Young and just hang out on the beach and figure out what's going on? Or what factors really matter to you?
Oh, good one, H.
Had a baby.
What?
I'm glad I'm up to date on my pop culture so I can understand your reference there.
Oh, nice.
Surprised you're not wearing the Chuck Berry shirt, but yeah, I think some of the factors are the direction of the team and the organization, and how I feel like I fit in the future mentally. Do I still have the passion, the competitiveness, and desire to keep playing? And I think it's a feeling that you just kind of know once you feel the off season has started. When you're a competitive, hyper competitive individual, you also probably you dream or think about what the fairy tale ending is, and it doesn't mean Super Bowl necessarily, but that's a pretty damn good fairy tale. Not many people have been able to walk off like that. I mean, Peyton did, and John Elway did, but not many people have been able to do that. So it comes down to more just how you're feeling. Can you still play? Do you still have the same commitment and enjoyment with the game? And do you want to sign up for the grind again? And I think the only way of knowing that is to probably get away from it for a little bit, let your mind clear, and then think about it. And think about the enormity of the task and what would bring you the most enjoyment. What's the best for your quality of life at that point?
So last year you said walking off the field, you knew, like you felt like, this isn't it. And then I guess there was actual retirement conversations between you and your people last offseason, and we were not privy to that. And then when you came back and had your first day press conference, you basically laid it all out, what the last 3-4 months that was being scrutinized literally since draft day without you saying anything the entire time. What happened was you said you could feel it, walking off the field. I think you told us that. And you said once again, I think this year, you'd know walking off the field. Did you have any of that? Are you leaning towards something? And at what point did you realize I should get away with this type of decision for a little bit and kind of clear my mind as opposed to being in the middle of the kitchen right now, which with one of the most devastating losses I've experienced?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. I felt like I would know if we're in the in the Super Bowl at zeros, what the right thing to do was, but not in the divisional round. In a game we felt like we were going to win, and that so it's a different feeling. I think even if we had made the Super Bowl and regardless of the outcome, I think you have to get away from it and not make an emotional decision and take time, because the enormity of the commitment to return or the decision to walk away, I think warrants ample time to contemplate and to communicate with, friends and loved ones, former teammates who've moved on, current teammates who are still playing. I think you have to factor in all of those different bits of information, and then kind of see what it feels like intuitively inside of you, and then make a decision and go with it and move forward. I think the thing that I will say is that it won't be one thing I would not do, 100% would not do, is retire and then come back a year later. Like, that's just
okay.
I don't have any desire to do that. That makes no sense. I feel like I'm at the place relationally with the Packers, in a really good place, especially with Brian, and the way our friendship and trust has grown, where
The GM.
Good to good.
Yeah, where
Good to good.
it would be a simple conversation, and whatever comes out of that conversation is moving forward. There's not going to be any weird, standoff, war of silence or anything. It's Brian and I have had good conversations throughout the year, and when it comes time to make a decision, we'll have a conversation, and that'll be that. It won't be a long drawn out process, and I think that's what's best for me, for him, for the organization, and for all the other decisions that need to be made.
Okay, so I don't want to press you too hard, but you would say that all options are still very prevalent on the board, you would say. Is there, like, retirement is potential? You would say. You don't know until you get to that point, obviously, when you get away. Staying with the Packers, definitely still option, especially with what you just said with Gunther Kuntz. That would have to get figured out because $38 million over the cap. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made, obviously. Going to another team, maybe experiencing free agency, or going to everything is still on the table in your eyes, you're thinking at this moment.
I mean, I don't think there's any free agency is not. I don't think that's an option, but I think. But everything is definitely on the table. There are things that seem more plausible or more likely, which I won't necessarily get into. But the most important thing is first the commitment to playing and to going through the off season and training and all that stuff is the first, and then after that, it's just conversations with my agent and Brian, and looking at the desires of the team and the kind of the mindset moving forward, and then make a decision from there.
There is numerous cities that just obviously assume that you're going to be their quarterback next year. And it sounds like, if I'm getting your words right now, you don't even fucking know if you want to commit to being a player, because the offseason workouts are a nightmare that people don't see. They see pictures of you singing Taylor Swift. They see pictures of you jumping off a waterfall. They assume you're doing copious amounts of drugs all over the place, maybe. But the work that it takes in the offseason is a very real one. And you're trying to figure out right now in your mindset whether or not you want to commit to that, which then leads to obviously a fuller commitment of the entire season. Am I getting the state of Aaron Rodgers correct right now?
Well, I mean, I'm not the off season. No, I'm not really thinking about that. I mean, the off season has definitely my desire to be a full-time participant in the off season is, I just don't think I need that. I think what I need for off seasons to continue playing is working, with my my body work people, uh, you know, training where I like to train in Southern California, that to me gets me in the best position to go out and perform at the highest level. And mentally, I think that's the biggest thing is what puts you in the right mindset mentally to come back and be your best self. The grind that I'm talking about is the grind of the season, and all the different hats that you wear as a starter, as a team leader, as a face of a franchise. You're taking on that. I remember Favre talked about that when he retired in 2008, and I revisited with him a little bit one of the last times I saw him. Just that reminder that you don't know as a potential first time starter, as I was about to be in 2008. You don't realize there's just a lot more than just playing football. There's the weight of the organization, and it's great. I mean, it's the opportunity, to lead and to be counted on. But there's a lot of other different hats that you wear throughout the year that are stressors, and are a part of the job, naturally a part of the job. And I think when you take on the role of being the starter, you take all that on and you embrace it. But it's more than just what you see on the Sundays. There's a lot more to playing quarterback, and I think you're committing to all that when you commit to coming back and playing.
How does it feel to be in this spot right now? It's got to be kind of weird. It's a unique situation. All options are on the table, and you seem to not even know really what you want to do.
He's not retiring. Dude, you're not retiring.
Too good.
You're too
But also,
good.
I did predict, though, Pat, I predicted the other night to myself that you were going to retire maybe and then come back after a year and win the MVP and win another Super Bowl.
So that's wrong, though. You're wrong.
You tried to debunk that. We don't know. We'll see. We'll see whenever he does let it go. If all of a sudden, like 7 months in, he's like, I still got this thing. And he comes on back. So, but what is it like, man, being where you are right now? Devastating loss. You're obviously very, that is hard to get over, at least for right now. But the rest of it going on, like your whole future is in front of you and you don't really know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's not any fear, for sure. I talked about that last year with the I don't have a fear of retirement. I felt that during the off season, so there's not any fear around it. The uncertainty is not unsettling at all. It's almost exciting thinking about what life is going to look like moving forward. I think that it's an interesting time because you're dealing with the grieving process of the season and knowing that specific group of people, both teammates and coaches, it just won't be the same. There's always changes, and there's a grieving process that goes along with that. And I think embracing that is an important part of it, not like pushing that stuff down or ignoring it. I think it allows you to stay present, to have gratitude for the feelings and the emotions and the moments you've had with these guys. I think that's an important part of kind of wrapping up the season. The disappointment, obviously, of personal performance and the way the season ended, I think is a real thing. You got to sit with that. You don't just push that aside. You take accountability for that, and then I think when all that stuff kind of starts to pass, then that's when the gratitude comes in. Gratitude for the moments, gratitude for the memories, for the friendships, for the incredible highs that we had, for the adversity that we faced, and some of that's definitely already crept in, and you cross paths with so many people in this business every single year, and there's really special people, and there's some people that impact you during the season. There's some people that impact you, during their careers, and then there's some people that impact you for a lifetime, and each one of those types of people is so important to the enjoyment of the season. And I think you have a lot of gratitude when you see these people, and as they're packing up a locker room or having a last meal in the cafeteria, and get to say some words to them. That's when the gratitude comes out, knowing that you went to battle with this person. And I think that's where the connection is always going to be there, is because you put your body in line with this individual, and you know what it takes to stick in this league, and that's what is always going to connect us. And this is a moment in time. This loss is a moment in time. It's a moment that will always be disappointing, but the friendships can surpass those moments and outlast always longer than those specific moments in time. And I'm very thankful for the friendships that I made, the new ones and the deeper and meaningful ones with some of the older guys.
Yeah, the locker room is such an incredible experience. People talk about that is what they miss whenever they retire. Like those moments either after a win, after a loss, on the plane, in the locker room on a Monday or Tuesday, either pissed off or happy about something. Everybody always chats about missing the locker room and missing their teammates. For you, if you had to look ahead here, and I know it's difficult to do, especially with all options on the table, do you feel like there's going to be a lot of, constant, like you might make a decision and then the next day, it's like, I don't know if that's the right one. Or are you somebody who, once you get a feeling from the universe, it's like, all right, I'm going to stick with this one. I'm going to go with it. Like, how do you view the process coming up? Are you going to write down on a dry erase board the pros and the cons for it? Like, how do you feel like this process is going to go? And do you assume it's going to be very fucking difficult, which I think we all are assuming?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know about very fucking difficult. I think it'll be a lot of intuition and a lot of feel. What is it? Imagination a lot as well. You have to imagine yourself in those situations, because I don't want to be sitting there during the season going, man, I probably should have hung it up, or sitting there and not at the organization, and going, God, I should be playing right now. Yeah. So I think it's just a trust that I'll know exactly what to do, and then once you make a decision, that's a decision, and you're moving forward. And until you get to that certainty, you don't make a decision. But there also is a time frame for this, because I understand that my decision does impact a number of other people's decisions, and I want to be very sensitive to that. And so I will definitely make a decision sooner rather than later.
What does that mean? Because everybody's saying free agency. AJ came on yesterday and said he would assume that you would make the decision before free agency. There were some reports on the NFL Network by Insider of Sports, Rappaport, saying before free agency. Free agency is what, March 16th?
Yes.
I mean, that's a pretty long time. I mean, we are in day-to-day business. Are you expecting to have this decision done sooner than later in your eyes of what you said? And what does that mean, you think?
I think even sooner than that. I mean, I'd like to, again, be respectful of the organization. I think the most, one decision that will be upcoming will be obviously Davante and his future with the team. There still is this thing called the franchise tag, which I don't think 17 wants the franchise. Like, no player ever wants the franchise.
Ever!
But that decision on that, I believe, is in February, and in late February. So I think that should be enough time to make a decision by then. I don't want to put myself on a specific date, but again, I do want to be sensitive to Davante and many other guys who have decisions to make on their own futures, and to drag it out past free agency would be disrespectful to the organization and to those guys, and that 100% will not happen.
You're not retiring, dude. This guy, there's no way. We need to see you out there. We need to see the cold-blooded killer out there. With the turtleneck, with the snow globe falling, with the chance to ride off into the sunset and beautiful. But you do whatever makes you happy. We understand the commitment is great, and we appreciate you stopping by every single week and breaking the monotony, hopefully, of your weekly schedule to chat with us about it all. But what we don't see is all the hard work. Whenever you're doing 28-minute interviews with ESPN folks, breaking did you know immediately upon doing that interview with ESPN where there were some quotes? I didn't listen to the entire thing. Was it a podcast or was it I don't know what it was.
I think it was a podcast.
I don't remember what it was. But you said you were being silenced, and then you actually called out the president of the United States. So as soon as you say stuff like that, the entire world is just going to burn down immediately. And is that something you have to think about going forward, or are you going to continue to be your true self and kind of speak for yourself like you have been the last couple of years for the first time in your entire career?
Yeah, I knew that there, and he said it wasn't a hit piece, but I knew that there was a piece. That piece, had obviously some interesting stuff in it, and so I don't know why he didn't think I would take the interview, but I definitely agreed to do the interview. There was definitely some things in there that of my quotes that were slightly maybe not the specific context. And that's based on how it was written and put together.
No.
But I do stand by, everything I said, and it was some interesting questions. You don't get asked a whole lot, for sure. But there were parts of answers that weren't entire, like the answer I gave about the president. Was a longer answer. So some of the answers were pared down for sure. But I stand by what I said in that interview, and I think to answer your question, and I've said it before about both you guys and the boys on the show. One of the main reasons that I have so much love and appreciation for you guys is because you guys are unapologetically yourselves, and you're authentic. I think, most of us, that's what we strive to be, right? We strive to be ourselves and to be authentic. And I think there's parts of us that die inside a little bit when we feel like we have to act or play a role or not be able to be entirely ourselves, right? And I think in society so often, we're either, like myself, super inspired by people who are unapologetic of themselves, right? Because we realize how special that is, how desirable that is, and it's people who are real. And I think we're attracted to that in some way. But there's also, I think, on the flip side, I have people who can't, for whatever reason, circumstances, job, fear, and there are a lot of those people who are acting and playing roles. I think there's an animosity that comes with it, with people who are authentically themselves and are unapologetic of themselves. Because if you can't join it, you gotta have something on it. You gotta damage it or disparage it if you can't be that type of person for whatever reason. I think a lot of it is fear. It's just fear of people. What if I am totally myself and I'm not liked or not appreciated or not understood? But the thing that inspires me is people who are unapologetically themselves, that are authentically themselves, and that understand that it's not going to be for everybody. It's not a popularity contest. You're not always going to be liked. You're not always going to be understood, appreciated, respected by people for whatever reason. But it doesn't stop you from being yourself over and over and over and over again. And I think we in society need more people being themselves, not less people. More people being authentic, not playing a role or acting. And but I do realize and empathize with the fact that there is a lot of fear around that idea, because the structures you've created sometimes are structures that are based on perspectives or facets of yourself that aren't entirely authentic to your true self. And I've been inspired by people who are authentically themselves, and I'm going to continue to do that. Now, I'm not trying to be an activist or a person who's crazily divisive, but we're also talking about an issue that has gone from health to politics, and so there is going to be division around the things that I say for sure, and hope I can further a conversation and create more connection when those opportunities arise. And at the same time, it's not football season for me anymore, so I'm sure I'll slowly head into the doldrums of not being having my opinion out there as much.
Okay.
Which would be probably great for everybody.
That's what I was about to say as we look back on this season. And there's a lot of people saying a lot of things. There was some veteran NFL coach that was quoted as saying, all Aaron wants to do is talk about COVID and his vaccination status. Tom Brady just wants to talk about ball. Like, that's what Tom Brady. Now there's a documentary coming out with Tom Brady. He has the TB12. He has his own Brady brand. He's an investor in crypto, I believe. He's also, everybody seems to have things, but people pick and choose what is a distraction and what isn't a distraction to becoming the best. And hindsight always wins, right? If if you win, hindsight will say like, oh, everything was right. If you lose, they're going to get you. But I think as I look back on this year, and I did this last night, I didn't know if you're going to come on today or later in the week. We would have been completely cool if you didn't come on today, by the way, because there's a lot of questions and you are still in that process of hating everybody because you lose. But I think if I'm wrong, please state this. And I get yelled at and I take it on the shins because of our conversations every week by people that don't necessarily agree with you. And I'm cool with it because I will always be a fan of hearing why people believe and what people believe, especially those that are the greatest of all time in conversation. So I enjoy that whole thing. But I think early, whenever you did have that immunized comment, I think you didn't want to be the poster boy of players that were not vaccinated. And then you were thrusted into a position because you are the reigning MVP of the NFL. You are Aaron Rodgers. You do come on this show every week. And then whenever you get put into the protocol of a non-vaccinated player, and it is the peak of the politicizing of the vaccination, you got thrusted into this role. So everybody is in, this is not me making excuses for you. I live this, I think, alongside of you. And I don't think you ever wanted to be. You got thrusted in there. Now people are using that against you. Do you think about that when you look back on the season, and will that be a part of your process of going through on what you want to do going forward? Because there's a chance you get thrown into the fucking biggest political thing of all time because you are a quarterback in the NFL and you are the MVP. And if you look back on this year, is that how you see it as well? Like you didn't expect to do it, but now we're looking back. Throw Rogan is a real thing. Like you're the guy now in everybody's eyes. Djokovic has his situation in Australia. Immediately it's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers and Djokovic are going to cause the tag team to fight Fauci or whatever. Like that is the immediate thing. And did you expect it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you never want to be in this position again? And have you even got a chance to think about that?
Well, I think I've thought about that throughout the season, and I really felt like at some point I was going to have to talk about it, and I was interested to see how it would start. And there was a witch hunt for sure. Who's vaccinated? Who's not? Who can we shame for not being vaccinated? That happened. I think as you watch the narrative of COVID change, you're going to see a lot of people recanting their statements, a lot of people changing history and revising what happened. We've already seen it, and I mentioned it the Friday I came on when I was recovering from COVID, where people are saying I spread misinformation when I was saying that they politicized the vaccine during Trump's presidency, which they actually did. You're going to see the narrative change. You're going to see people walk back their statements for sure. During that time, when there was a witch hunt going on, I knew at some point I was going to get asked. I was in the process of an appeal with the NFL that I mentioned in this article that came out of ESPN that had been a multi-month conversation with them. And the appeal hinged on the exact statement that I said in the interview, is that I've been immunized. Because in my opinion, and based on conversations with doctors that I consulted with and used to complete my immunization process, we thought we had evidence to show the NFL that I had done not only what was best for my body, but what was best to protect myself and my teammates from infection at the time. So I had also planned, if there was a follow-up, on expanding on that because, I didn't want, I wasn't going to, slough off any type of a follow-up question. And I knew I was placing myself in the crosshairs had there been a follow-up. Now, there wasn't. So in the moment I was thinking, oh, well, I might have, avoided this at the time, but also realized that sentence that I used, again, was the crux of my appeal. Now, after a few meetings, more conversation with the league and a Zoom, I realized that my appeal was denied and I would continue to be in the non-vaccinated group. It was my assertion, and still is today, that some of the policies that the league imposed on the non-vaccinated had nothing to do with health. They were more about shame than anything, and trying to coerce higher vaccination rates. One of them being you're in a room full of vaccinated reporters who are all over 20 feet away from you, tell me how it makes sense health-wise to be wearing a mask. I just didn't think that had anything to do with health. So I continued to not wear a mask. That's actually not even what I got fined for. I got fined to going to a Halloween party.
Pooh shiesty, dude.
Where the small amount of people at the party, which it was a small amount, were all vaccinated, and no one else at the party actually had an outbreak of COVID from that Halloween party. That's what I was fined for. But I knew I would be a part of the conversation at some point, and was obviously hopeful I could avoid COVID and maybe talk about it at the end of the year. That didn't happen. I was thrust right in the spotlight. I think at that point, I just wanted to kind of defend myself a little bit. I felt like I was taking a bunch of crazy shots and opinions, but ultimately this issue is so politicized. It's so triggering to people. It's hard to hear words from a dissenting opinion if you live your life in an echo chamber filled with confirmation bias. And I don't want to be an activist again. I don't want to be a person that's called upon, to give constant opinion on this. That's why I've turned down all these interview offers from the Fox stations. I said it on this show. I don't want to do interviews for CNN or for Fox because politics is a sham. I stand by that. I don't want to be a politicized person. I don't want my views bolstering the anti-vaxxers and triggering the vax people. I want to be somebody who has an opinion, who shares it, who does research, but who's also open to hearing from both sides. Because I think that's what we need more of in this country.
Hey, I think the interesting thing, though, the same people that are saying you were a distraction were the same ones that were like, answer the question now. So it was a never-ending cycle where you became the poster boy for the entire thing. And as a person that rode shotgun in this entire thing, I was like, I don't think he ever wanted this to be the case. But now people are using it against you. It's just you live a fascinating life.
Yeah, but that's the way the narratives work. I think for so much of my career I was an enigma because there wasn't a lot known about me off the field. And then when I started opening up a little bit more, I think last year people were like, oh, this guy's not bad. He's interesting. He's interested in a bunch of things and he swears sometimes and he's, a very honest person and people liked it. Until I had, an opinion that was anti a very triggering mainstream narrative. And then now I'm a pariah. Now I'm a distraction. Now I'm this or I'm that. But those are people's opinions, man. It's like on the Big Lebowski. That's just your opinion, man. I'm not going to let it affect me. They can use narratives and storylines just like they can use stats to prove whatever point they want.
Don't even, okay? Hashtag stat. You do not. Listen, stats play for every team, and they're always right, okay? So hashtag stat, dude. Do not. All right, don't even think about on this program going after stat, okay? Please, unbelievable. Sorry about that. Go ahead, AJ.
Hey, Aaron, in 10 years from now, how do you think this whole year is going to be talked about that you've had?
By me or by other people?
Others.
Other people, not you. Other people, just around. Will anything change between now, 10 years from now? Do you think we will look back on this? What will people say?
Oh, people in the league will probably say, "Can you believe, some of the protocols that were in place and what we went through?" I think people. I don't know. That's tough. I think there'll be a lot of people thinking, hey, we should have handled this better, or should have handled that better. I think I'll probably look back and say, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that at this point. I wish I would have said it this way. But yeah, hindsight is definitely 2020. Personally, I feel I've never played better in the face of such an adverse year, and I'm very proud of that. So this was such an enjoyable year too, for all the reasons I've mentioned. Plus, Randall Cobb and his presence and coming back. But yeah, I mean, I have so much gratitude for the lessons from this year. I mean, I think in 10 years, the lessons that I learned personally are going to be still with me and be an important part of my constant growth and evolution. And I'm thankful for all the highs and lows for sure, because it was definitely a trying year at times. But I think in 10 years, uh, man, we'll look back and definitely scratch our head about a few things from this season.
You think if you're vaccinated, you beat the Niners on Saturday night?
Oh man,
Got a book today? There's
probably
probably one
people
for sure.
pushing that for sure.
There's definitely. If it wasn't for the entire thing, that was the case. Ty, hey, I want to let you know this entire season, just like last year, watching Ty get an opportunity as a diehard Packers fan and a Team 12 guy has been an honor. Ty, I want to let you know that, and I hope you've enjoyed the hell out of it. And I assume you are shitting your pants for what the future is potentially for the Green Bay Packers.
Well, yeah, obviously very disappointing with the way the season ended, but I would be remiss again if I mean, watching you play has brought me so much joy for such a long time, and you know, coming on this show every week and getting to sit in on these, like it really is, you know, these are memories I'll cherish forever. And I certainly hope it wasn't the last game that you ever played as a Packer, but I know that's a possibility. But when you look back on this year, do you think it'll be something where you look at this, like in the offseason coming up, that you look at this year singularly? Or when people start talking about potentially moving on and retiring or changing teams, like do you kind of find yourself reminiscing about your career as a whole more?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ty, as usual.
And a baby Ty!
Yeah.
I've thought about that directly. I feel like my career has been multi acts. You know, like so many different parts. I think about as a backup in 05, 6, 7. That feels like a different lifetime for sure. A different person. You know, early 20s, different hobbies and things I enjoyed doing and approach as a young starter, like 8, 9, and 10. Totally, you know, those years kind of stand on their own, and then kind of a run from 11 to I don't know 15 or 16, where you know I was playing really good football and excited. You know, just that level of excitement I had was I think equaled and leveled out by my lack of experience at times too, and just the growth and the learning from each of those seasons was so important and impactful in my career. And then you know, really from I think 17 and 18, kind of the end of Mike being here and that being such an important era and part of my career, and then kind of the LaFleur era, you know, the last 3 years of a new scheme and new energy and new coaches around here, and my own necessity to evolve and adapt and grow. I think when I think back about it, it's kind of those snippets of time. As a whole, it's kind of enormous to think about. You know, I've mentioned I'm you know almost an adult as far as years lived here and my own evolution as far as where I've lived and what I enjoy doing and the restaurants that I go to and the things I like to do during my off time. And, you know, there's just so much gratitude for the journey. I think that's what we all can look back on and be reminded of. When you're in it, there's such a process and there's a monotony to it and a Groundhog Day effect. But when you start to look back at these stretches of time or your career as a whole, the journey, man, is just so sweet. You think about the people that had direct impact on your life, and then you can go past that. You know, being able to meet people like Craig Rigsby and Ron Souza and Rick Pitzker and John Shepard and Sterling Jackson and Jeff Jordan and Jeff Tedford and George Cortez and all these different people who had such an important impact on my life.
Who the fuck are they? Who's that? Who is that group of people?
It's high school and college coaches.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, cool. I appreciate them too, by the way.
Yeah. And just the impact that they had on my life. And I think that's what makes the journey so sweet is to remember where you came from and where you're at and to have gratitude for those moments and those people and those times of adversity and those times of elation. And I think that's what always sticks with you. This year will always be special and unique for so many different reasons. But I think just the lessons that I've learned, the opportunity to share the book club with people and to share more of me, maybe more than people wanted at the beginning of the season, as they soon learned about my own ideas about health and wellness. But I am thankful for all those moments and thankful for this community that I've lived in for so long and the way they've embraced me and given me so many moments of extreme joy and gratification.
Okay, well, first of all, we'd like to say thank you for everything you've done. And also, shout out to all those high school and college coaches, man. I love those guys. I knew who you were talking about. I just knew other people potentially didn't, and that's hosting. It's obviously a weight to bear, but I am strong enough to do so. Are we going to get a book for the last, installment of the Aaron Rodgers Book Club? That has been a smashing success. CFO Phil is here, so we'll be able to announce the amount of money that we raised for reading advocacy group of your choosing for the book club shirts and everything like that. We cannot wait to make that announcement. You've made a real imprint here in a community that I never in a million years could have dreamed of being a part of. Never read a book, but I'll get to it. I'm going to read them all in the off season. Do you have another book, and what is it?
I was thinking about doing 1984 by George Orwell. A little too much on the nose, and then I realized it's been given some sort of designation recently that it has too much, triggering information.
Jesus! Is this a misinformation on a program? Right? Am I going to get killed for what you just said? I don't know the book world enough.
No, but I definitely have read 1984 by George Orwell, written in 1949, actually. And there are some striking similarities to the world that we live in today.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I don't have a book today. I was thinking about doing just a random pick of anything behind me, but I was looking at the book list yesterday, and I just thought it was full and complete. And I'm so thankful for all those books on there. The cool thing I will say, if you leave that up there so I can reference that in what I'm saying, but I've heard from so many people this offseason this season, thank you for the book club. I just read fill in the blank, The Alchemist. I was just talking with a scout yesterday, one of our longtime scouts, and he goes, "You know what? I read The Alchemist this year. It was awesome. I usually read historical fiction or historical nonfiction. It was a great, great break for me, and I'm thankful for that. I've heard from people who read Krakauer's book. I got to have communication with John, who's been a favorite author of mine for years, and to highlight. Mark Manson talked about the subtle art of not giving a fuck. He made a reference to it, and all the other realization books that are on there. You Are the Universe, Ram Dass's book, are super deep and meaningful to me. To highlight Alex Trebek's book, for the role that he's played in so many of our lives was pretty awesome. Obviously, The Power of Now I see on there. What else do we got on there? I'm missing The Giver. Multiple people came to me and said, recommending The Giver. It was fun to go back and read that one again. I remember, being in seventh grade and having to read that. And, I heard from somebody recently who said, you know what? The last book that I'd actually read was The Giver. So I thought it was important now, 20 years later, to go back and make the first book I've read since then The Giver again. And they, the stories about people who are interested in reading has been really cool. I'm thankful for that, and thankful to spread, some of those books that I personally read. One of these days, Pat, I hope that you don't rely strictly on Connor to give you the info on that. But there are some good books out there. In a hypothetical world, where things fall back into place, and we end up doing this again, which according to you is the only reason that I win MVPs.
No, I never said that. I never said that. No, I never said that.
Definitely expanding on the book club and finding some more organizations to help and encouraging reading advocacy would be pretty awesome too.
Well, I think you've done a great job, and you've opened my eyes. I mean, the Book of Mark there, the subtle art of not giving a fuck. That guy selling cigs at the age of 12 or something like that. I was doing it at 10. Kindred Spirits, me in the Book of Mark. I can't wait to hopefully read that someday.
Or next year, Pat, he could be in studio with you next year. He's wearing a blue hoodie, and maybe he could be in studio with you playing for another team.
Well, and I saw.
I hope not. I want you to be in Green Bay.
Fuck off, AJ.
No, Colts would be cool too. The whole team
shit.
is built. Team is built. Team is ready to go. Team is stacked. We got an MVP in the backfield
looks good at blue.
as well. We started this conversation literally with me saying, "Oh, you look good in that blue." You know, that is literally. And then allegedly the internet has heated up, but that is your life. Everything you do and say or hint towards is going to get speculated upon. We're excited to watch on as you make a decision that's going to affect a lot of lives.
I think what we should do, it would be fun just to, troll some people who dislike you because, you give me a platform to spread all my misinformation. But in the past, I've enjoyed leaking, like when I re-signed, I hit up James Jones. I believe it was just because I love JJ, and he's like the anti-media guy. He's so fun on TV and such an amazing teammate. But some of us who played with him have given him the first info, and I know it pisses off the pros, so the Schefters or Rappaports who are great at what they do. Wow. I know it probably doesn't make them feel great, but if I when I come to a decision, I should probably come on your show first, right?
Hey, come on in, dude. Come on in. Whenever the water's.
I'll come to Indy, and we can do it in person.
Yes.
Put the uniform on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do the whole thing. That'd be great. It'd be like a high school person, know?
Yeah.
And they're either picking up the golf visor, I'm retiring. Everybody fuck off. Or if you're doing the whole thing, we'd love that. We'd appreciate that. And even if that doesn't happen, I want to let you know we're all pumped for you, thankful for you, and hope that you can find happiness forever in whatever you decide.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys and coming on the show. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for the forum to talk about things that are important to me. And thanks to all you guys for asking some good questions, as opposed to, I think, some of the rhetoric out there. You do ask some tough questions. AJ probably more than anybody, because he has a subtle way of weaving in these inside jokes that him and I have had for the last 15 years in a way where nobody quite understands it, except for maybe me, him, his wife, Nate Weir, Spencer Havner, maybe a couple other people. But I do appreciate our time every single week. It's a lot of fun. You guys do an incredible job. I'm so happy for your, the money you guys have gotten to keep doing the show. You guys deserve every friggin' penny of it. And keep doing you. Keep being unapologetically yourselves and authentic to your true self, which is why people love you. Why they tune in. And why folks like myself want to be on the Pat McAfee Show. So keep up the good work, boys. Much love. I was going to play a little Iris, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But I thought a better song would be Time of Your Life, but I actually lost the sheet music, so I'm not going to do that.
Oh, whenever you come and do the whole...
When I come, we'll play a little bit of that.
Hey, when I come,
you come. Green Day. A little Green Day.
We all come. When we all come, we'll make this whole thing happen. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Our show ain't shit without people like you stopping by, giving us conversations. We're very thankful for the opportunity 2 years in a row. Last question, actual question. You win the MVP or don't win the MVP, does that change anything in your mind?
No.
Okay, cool. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, well, we hope you win, obviously. It'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. Cool. But you deserve it as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning, defending, undisputed MVP of the NFL, who's staring down an offseason that the entire world is going to be looking at. Mm-hmm. Golfing with TaylorMades, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers. That was awesome, AJ. Hey.
Yeah, man. It's good.
I feel like I get attacked by people that don't watch the show often for how long my questions are. And I like to let people know that is my strategy. I like to ask a question, and then I like to get the bullshit cliche answer out of the way in my question so we can maybe get to the next layer, right? I'm going to give this answer. If you give the same answer I just gave, They know they can't do it. Let's go a little bit deeper. I know that you are blah, 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 which is normally the first answer. But how come? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Didn't get a chance to chat about, that game, why the rhythm was off. I think he talked about their defense being good. But the chat about his future, man, is so fascinating. I don't think he's retiring. Dude.
No.
I don't think he's retiring. Do you, AJ? I mean, maybe. Who knows what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks? But it doesn't feel like that was a conversation with a man who's done with football.
It doesn't. I mean, yeah, especially after the way that he played all year. Yeah, I have a hard time seeing him step away right now.
Me too.
But I have no clue. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't think he knows. So we'll see.
Well, he said he's going to feel it, intuition, his gut, kind of the universe, which has kind of been the book club all year. Excited to watch it. To all the boys, thank you so much for your hard work. I love you guys.
Love you, Pat.
That's the end of Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, season 2. Pretty good, I think.
Yeah,
Pretty
not
damn
bad.
good. Well,
Pretty
not
Very good.
Not the end quite yet. It might
Season
be,
2.
Oh, season 2.
Season
Oh,
two.
next one
Season
is,
2.
yeah.
The
Season
announcement
2.
will be season 3.
Season 2. The announcement will be it's like a Dwanta Claus.
Yeah,
Bonus?
Christmas
Oh,
It's a Christmas special. It's a
okay.
Christmas special, and then we'll go on hopefully to season
Amazing
3.
Christmas special.